Join Nestor Lacanto for virtual in-depth discussions with the movers and shakers in our community every Wednesday on In Full Zoom. Presented by IT&D and Calvo.
KUAM News Headlines is presented by Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust, serving Micronesia since 1938. Matson, celebrating 25 years of commitment to Guam, Micronesia, and the CNMI. Cars Plus Hyundai, home of the Kona electric vehicle, an electric heart with an SUV soul. Test drive yours today at Cars Plus. McDonald's of Guam, I'm Loving It, and King's Restaurant, serving your local breakfast, lunch, and dinner favorites for over 45 years.
Ahead on Primetime, join our sked on trial for murder, Hannah Devanzo, with a story from Superior Court. And we hear from CNMI Governor Ralph Torres on his impeachment. Plus, Public Health revises its guidelines as to who should get tested for COVID. Half a day and good evening. Some breaking news out of the Philippines. The Philippine government announced today that fully vaccinated international travelers will be allowed entry if they are fully vaccinated within 48 hours of arrival. Foreigners and returning overseas Filipinos will also no longer be required to undergo facility-based quarantine, according to a spokesman for Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte. The Philippines also suspended its red, yellow, green COVID risk classifications for foreign countries and territories. Airlines will be mandated to require foreigners traveling to Manila to present proof of full vaccination prior to boarding. Passengers will be required to self-monitor for any symptoms for 7 days. And due to an unprecedented demand for COVID-19 testing, Public Health has once again revised its guidelines on who should get tested. Although additional test kits have been ordered, Guam is competing with the rest of the country. DPHSS PIO Janela Carrera.
We are roughly 23,000. If we reach that point where we have no test kits at all on island, we have no test kits at all on island.
We should note that on average, DPHSS is conducting a little over 2,000 tests per day. If there's only 23,000 test kits left, that would mean DPHSS can only test for roughly 11 more days, according to the revised testing guidelines. Only those who are experiencing symptoms should be tested, or if you are considered a high-risk close contact, such as being 65 years of age or older, pregnant or unvaccinated, or partially vaccinated with underlying health conditions. Public Health has no timeline of when their supply of new test kits will arrive. And overwhelmed with containing COVID, rules are being changed for GovGuam employees seeking a medical or religious exemption from being vaccinated. The approval will no longer come from Public Health. Daniel Perez reports.
According to a revised organizational circular released by the Department of Administration, GovGuam employees can now seek a medical or religious exemption from being vaccinated from their department head, Public Health PIO Janela Carrera.
For those who are seeking a religious exemption request, the request should be made to the respective GovGuam agency, and it goes the same for a medical exemption request. So anytime an employee or staff has a request for medical or religious exemption from vaccination, then they should submit it to their respective agency where they work.
Carrera said the reason behind the change is because Public Health's main concern was keeping the virus contained and keeping residents safe from COVID.
When it comes to religions and religious exemptions, our position is that is not where our purview lies, and so I think that those things are best handled by the administration, the Department of Administration.
As of now, this updated circular is for GovGuam employees only. Carrera added Public Health is discussing helping agencies that need clarification with medical exemptions. However, it's not for certain.
There may be some agencies that are unsure, and they may receive some requests from their staff or employees for medical exemption. If they need some sort of guidance and they want to have someone review the requests, like a medical professional, a medical doctor, they may be able to consult with our chief medical officer, our interim chief medical officer, which of course is Dr. Bob Leon Guerrero. So we may offer that, and we're still considering that.
Employees who are granted the medical or religious exemption will still need to submit to weekly COVID-19 testing. Daniel Perez reporting for Guam's News Network.
There are signs that the multi-billion-dollar economic boost from federal pandemic assistance may be waning, and that could spell trouble for local businesses who may need another round of financial assistance soon. Guam Hotel and Restaurant Association President Mary Rhodes observes that things are getting tight in the restaurant industry.
The harsh reality is that maybe there isn't enough traffic or a customer base to even maintain operations. With KUAM money running out, federal dollars not being recirculated back into the economy, people don't have that disposable income as much as they used to.
She adds that while the current rash of temporary restaurant closures can also be attributed to the virus, close contacts, and supply chain issues, the loss of income can't be ignored. Minority Leader Chris Dueña says it's not unexpected.
My tempered exuberance for all of this money that we have in excess of collections, in the last fiscal year and this current fiscal year has always said, let's see what happens in February and in the second quarter. And I think that that's where we are now. You see a lot of slowdown because of the fact that, staffing issues at our businesses. But I think you really have a serious contraction in terms of spending power.
GovGuam has launched the $50 million Local Economic Assistance Program, or LEAP. It's a 50-50 funding split between the governor's ARP money and the general fund as appropriated by the legislature.
We really need the businesses to apply to demonstrate that to GITA and to, the government, both legislative and executive branches, that private sector is hurting. I think that we have the justifications to ask for more federal dollars to be spent within the private sector, because you really need the small businesses up to the large businesses to keep that circular economy going.
Dueñas points out that the original ask for the LEAP program was $60 to $70 million.
I honestly believe we're going to need more money for this program. It's not going to be long before, whether the speaker and I and, the majority, minority, or all 15 members pick up the phone and say, hey, Gov, this is getting serious and we need to respond and work closely.
Former UMADIG Mayor Daniel Sanchez was found dead with 20 stab wounds in Rudy Canata's residence in April of last year. Today, the road to justice began, where Joyner Sked, one of the two people charged in the murder, appeared before a jury of 12. KUAM's Hannah Devanzo reports.
Opening statements got underway this morning for Joyner Sked. She, along with Rudy Canata, are charged for the murder of former Mayor Daniel Sanchez. They are being tried separately. Sked is represented by attorney Terrence Timblin.
Well, Mr. Canata is not on trial at the moment. His acts are very much part of this case. The evidence will show that Rudy Canata caused the death of Daniel Sanchez with 4 blows from a hammer with an orange handle to the back and side of his head.
Prosecuting the case is Assistant Attorney General Leonardo Rapadas.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we are here today because that woman, Joyner Scott Sked, repeatedly stabbed and killed Daniel Canata Sanchez.
A concerned neighbor, George Uggan, who took the stand today, called the Guam Police Department to conduct a welfare check on Canata, who he hadn't seen in days. The responding officer was Teodoro Perenisan.
As it got closer and closer to that opening in the wall, and noticed that foul odor smell got stronger. Notice an individual's body laying on the floor.
Okay. What did you do when you saw that?
I was already announcing, calling out for the individual's attention. During also such time, Officer Matt Spit was knocking on the door, was announcing our presence. There was no response from that individual.
Sked, along with Rudy Canata, are charged with murder as a first-degree felony and aggravated assault as a second-degree felony. The charges against Sked also include a special allegation of the use of a deadly weapon in the commission of a felony. The trial will continue on Monday. Joyner Sked is being tried separately from her boyfriend Rudy Canata, who appeared today in Superior Court for a status hearing. He, too, is accused of the murder of former UMADIG Mayor Daniel Sanchez. Reporting for Guam's News Network from the Superior Court here in Hagatna, I'm Hannah Devanzo.
And 27-year-old John Richard Bass III has been found competent to stand trial for murder. Superior Court Judge Alberto Lamarena also rejected his plea of not guilty by reason of mental illness, disease, or defect. Bass is accused of the June 2021 killing of 39-year-old Virginia Laguatna, the murder occurred at Hotel Maina. A 19-year-old woman was also stabbed in the incident. He was on the run for almost 24 hours before authorities picked him up in Jigo. According to court documents, through forensic evaluation, Bass appeared mentally sound, speech flow and content was appropriate, and appeared to understand all the questions that were asked. And 2 more deaths have been linked to COVID-19, according to the latest release from the Joint Information Center. The 283rd COVID-19 related death took place on November 3rd, 2021, when a 63-year-old unvaccinated man was found dead at home. The man also had underlying health conditions. The island's 284th COVID-19 related death was of a 53-year-old unvaccinated woman who died on January 26 at the Guam Memorial Hospital. The woman also had underlying health conditions. We should also mention last night, CNMI recorded its 23rd COVID-19 related death. And in regional news, CNMI Governor Ralph Torres one-on-one on the link. He's standing his ground amid the impending trial in the Senate.
I know that is strictly political. And so therefore, what I do, it doesn't change when my priorities here in CNMI.
Governor Ralph Torres maintains his innocence and remains unfazed by his recent impeachment. He says all of his expenditures were by the book and denies all the allegations outlined in the 6 articles of impeachment. You said that nothing you've done is illegal. Do you believe anything you've done in these charges are perhaps unethical?
I don't think so.
He says lawmakers overreached when they held him in contempt for failing to appear before the legislative committee investigating him. He's moving forward with his lawsuit against the committee.
It is important that we don't set a wrong precedent on the governor's position.
That position up for election this year. Torres responded to his former running mate and sitting Lieutenant Governor Arnold Palacios, who's running for governor. Palacios testified against the governor in the House investigative hearings. Earlier this week, he told KUAM he cringes thinking about the old Torres-Palacios ticket.
I'm not known to be throwing punches. I'm amazed that he would come out like that.
His political opponents, made up of independent Republicans supporting Lieutenant Governor Palacios and Democrats backing Representative Tina Sablan, ramping up their campaigns before the Senate drafts rules for the impeachment trial.
I will continue to be the governor until the community says otherwise.
Once again, we invite you to voice your view across our social media pages with our daily question. Today, we're asking, should Guam adopt its own constitution to replace the Organic Act? We'll share responses on the link. Coming up next, important news about your power bill and all rise payments are issued by DRT. These stories and more when primetime returns.
Half day. As we look ahead to a brighter tomorrow, Matson's commitment to Guam and Micronesia remains stronger than ever. While the world around us is ever-changing, what remains unchanged is our commitment to you, our customers, and the island communities we serve. Shipping is what we do best, and serving our community is at the heart of everything we do. But we don't do it alone. This is why we support organizations that make caring for the people and the environment a top priority. We know that many count on Matson's lifeline services in the Pacific, and that's why we continue to work hard to ensure that our shipments remain on time all the time. Matson recently added another Aloha-class vessel to our schedule. We now have 2 of Matson's largest and fastest ships serving Guam from the U.S. West Coast and Hawaii. With our new state-of-the-art vessels, we stand ready to support the region's economic recovery. Thank you for the privilege of serving you for the last 25 years, and you can count on Matson to be here for the next 25 years and beyond.
Don't need a work break, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around. Whoa, you can count on me. You can count on me for life.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
When making the new Kentucky Fried Chicken sandwich, people asked how I felt about burger places selling fried chicken. I'd say that's none of my business, just like making fried chicken is none of theirs. Get the new Kentucky Fried Chicken sandwich. It's finger-licking
What's up on our KUAM News WhatsApp tip line at 671-727-0094. Share information about what's happening in your town, on Guam or the Sinai, and what you want us to know. Reach us on WhatsApp at 671-727-0094. Welcome back. The average residential power bill will go up by about $9.30 a month starting in February. The Public Utilities Commission decided last night to raise the fuel surcharge known as the LEAC by 1% kilowatt hour to cover a portion of GPA's current $20.6 million in under-recovered fuel costs, PUC Administrative Law Judge Fred Horaki.
If the rate had been left at 17.1 cents per kilowatt hour, there would have been an additional $2.6 million over the next 6 months. That is based on the estimates of fuel prices that we have now. The ratepayers would have been incurring even more debt. And that's a bad situation to be in, because ultimately that amount's going to have to be recovered.
GPA officials had sought to keep the current rates at current levels, but the PUC decided it makes more sense to raise it a little now rather than risk a much larger hike later on.
You can always postpone a debt, but at some point it has to be paid back. And I think the PUC felt, because of the fact that fuel prices are still going up too, and that we would incur even more under recovery by leaving it at 17, that the prudent, reasonable thing to do was to raise it up to 18 cents.
The increase goes into effect February 1st. And if you've been waiting for an all-rise payment, check your mail or your bank account. Rev and Tax completed processing 139 payments totaling $140,000. This breaks down to about 88 paper checks and 51 electronic transfers. The delay in all-rise payments can be attributed to errors on the application and applicants not having a validly filed and processed 2020 income tax return. The agency is continuing to review and address errors on remaining applications. To date, $36.7 million in all-rise payments have been distributed. And a bill to give Native Chamorro-owned small business in Guam and the Sinai an edge in federal contracts will be heard in Congress next month. Congressman Michael San Nicolas introduced the measure, which adds to the new language to current federal law.
Congressman San Nicolas's bill is dubbed the Native Pacific Islanders of America Equity Act. It would amend certain statutes, including Section 8A of the Small Business Act, which offers a broad scope of assistance to firms that are at least 51% owned by socially or economically disadvantaged individuals. For example, it currently includes Native Hawaiian and Alaskan-owned firms who benefit from certain set-aside and sole source contracts.
This type of consideration is created for Native peoples as a means of affording them the opportunities that they should be within this country, and as opposed to having Native peoples in conflict with one another over who should avail of this, we should be making as many opportunities available for Native peoples throughout the country. And that should include the Native people of Guam.
Speaking at a briefing for local senators, he said the measure also requires the governor's office to establish a registry of Native Chamorros to determine eligibility.
The establishment of how we recognize the Native Chamorro ancestry is consistent with how we already are doing it in Guam law. We're just going to codify into the Organic Act that the federal government will then be officially recognizing that same process. The adjudication for the management of this registry is also kept entirely local, with the public auditor, our local public auditor, being the one to audit to the registry itself.
San Nicolas is seeking local legislative support for the bill in the form of a resolution to be sent to his congressional colleagues. For Guam's News Network, I'm Nestor Lecanto.
More senators and the Republican Party of Guam weighing in on Vice Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes' 6-month absence from the 36th Guam legislature. Here's more.
I'm hoping at some point she'll make an affirmative decision if she's able to come back, if that's her intention, or is she planning on stepping down because, you know, her family obligations.
Minority Senator Joanne Brown, the latest legislator seeking clarity on Vice Speaker Tina Muñoz Barnes' extended absence from the session floor. Vice Speaker Barnes has been away from Guam since last July. Sources telling us she left island to support an immediate family member seeking medical care and was then involved in a car crash in Arizona in September. Barnes told KUAM she's been teleworking, but Senator Teletaidegui raised her eyebrows, saying Barnes has been AWOL from public hearings. And the latest twist, The Republican Party of Guam coming out with a message of support for the Vice Speaker, reading in part, quote, "There's a time and place for a healthy debate on issues and politics, but that time should never collide with the timeline of when one is facing a medical emergency recovery." Minority Leader Senator Chris Duenas telling The Link this morning the issue is a sensitive subject to be discussed with care.
This discussion is not off limits. It's the tone and tenor of the discussion that I think is important.
But Senator Brown said the seriousness of the subject warrants more discussion, especially from the Vice Speaker, who declined an interview with KUAM.
But I'm sure at some point, because the absence is significantly long, she should come out and make a public determination and let us know, us as colleagues and the people, more importantly, what her plans are.
And what if those plans involve the Vice Speaker resigning from the legislature so she can take care of her family and fully recover? Well, Guam law says if a vacancy occurs in the legislature more than 8 months before the general election, a special election must be held to replace the vacated seat. That means if the Vice Speaker resigned before March 8th, a special election would have to be held. If she stepped down after March 8th, her seat would remain vacant until the next election. For Guam's News Network, Chris Barnett reports.
The Guam Police Department is calling on the community in helping identify suspects of the recent school burglaries. KUAM's Isaiah Uggan reports.
It appears that schools being burglarized have been a recurring issue in the last few weeks. That's according to Guam Police Department acting spokesperson, Officer Berlin Savella, who says that 2 Guam Department of Education schools were hit recently.
Several classrooms within Beneventi were broken into, and that items from within the classroom, be it from personal, from the instructor, and or property belonging to the school, was stolen. We've also identified a school off of Herman, which is Juan M. Guerrero. Juan M. Guerrero also was a victim to being broken into, and items from within their classrooms as well have been taken and stolen.
8 cases in the span of a week have been reported thus far, and no suspects have been identified. This has GPD pleading for the community's help.
We would like to ask the public for their assistance, as we always do, in providing any information they may have heard, may have seen during that time frame, to contact our Guam Police Dispatch at 671-475-8537. But also at the same time, if we can also just remind our community that we all help each other.
Savella noted that these break-ins occur when no one is supervising the schools, especially over the weekend. Meanwhile, GDOE Deputy Superintendent of Operations Erica Cruz told KUAM News that Jose Rios Middle School in PD was burglarized once again this morning. She says that Jose Rios Middle School was vandalized but nothing was stolen. Cruz mentioned that it seems individuals were targeting the health room, however were not able to enter that room, which is located in the gymnasium. She added, quote, "As perpetrators tried to pry the door open, a television fell over," end quote. GDOE is working with GPD to have extra assistance in patrolling the area over the weekend. Reporting for Guam's News Network, Guahusi Isaiah Uggan.
Stay with us. Coming up next on KUAM News, sports with Dave Delgado, and still to come, your Cold Stone Creamery birthday shoutouts. Keep it here to KUAM.
Beautiful.
It is, right, baby?
Dad, isn't that where we usually stop for gas?
It's where we used to stop, but not anymore.
But isn't that the place with the milkshakes?
Okay, all right, let's go.
Get it out, kids.
Take your adventure further in the first ever Santa Fe Hybrid.
I didn't get screened because I was just afraid of it.
I procrastinated.
I didn't have any symptoms.
I didn't have insurance.
I didn't want to know.
There were several services that was available to me.
I got a mammogram.
Colonoscopy.
I know in my heart that early detection saved my life.
And I just tell people all the time, please go get screened.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Denise David has been riding motorcycles for the past 18 years. She attended the Femwalla fundraising event located in California last month. Denise marked the trip off her bucket list as she was able to experience what it was like to be a professional rider.
I took advantage of that, took the opportunity. I wanted to see what it feels like to be on the track and see all the women that's out there. And it's not only men can do it, also women. So I felt comfortable enough to be on that track. Ran a bike, ran the whole thing, got a pit crew and everything. Feel like a pro with Rider's Law. They showed me everything from basic. I had a coach, like everything. I mean, it's mind-blowing.
Denise rides a Honda CBR 1000 and says the fastest she's been clocked in at was 120 miles an hour. Last year's event was held at the Chuckwalla Racetrack. The event is held once a year to help raise funds for the Unforgettables charity organization. There were about 200 women who came out to support the cause, with each rider spending close to $1,000 for the experience.
When I'm on the bike, I feel free like a bird, and it's my happy place. It's therapeutical. It's just you and the bike. You sync together. You gotta trust the bike. The bike's gotta trust you, and your abilities to ride on your own. And of course, you just have fun with it. Like I get lost with it.
For Buckets of the Week, we flash back to our men's national team when they faced Taipei at the UOG Calvo Fieldhouse. Ben Borja, corner 3, buckets. Tomas Calvo setting up the play, waits for the screen and pulls up for the 3-piece, buckets. Ty Wesley with the moves to get to the rim. Spin, baseline off glass for the bucket. Darren Hetchanova works his way to the basket. Nice move to get inside the paint, getting the home court bounce. 2-piece. Takumi Simon spotting up in the corner, waiting to get his grub on. Order up for another 3-piece. Buckets. Don't forget to send us your best shots. DM our KUAM News on Instagram or hit me up at sho@kuam.com. In programming news on KUAM TV 11, Monday, January 31st at 6 in the morning, NFL on CBS. The AFC Championship game, Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals at Kansas City Chiefs, led by Patrick Mahomes. Winner moves on to this year's Super Bowl.
KUAM Sports is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Need a new phone? Trade in now and get up to $500 off our best 5G devices. Trade in your older phone in any condition and step up to better savings and speeds only our 5G network can provide. Check out our website and catch up on the best mobile experience. Trade in now. Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Half a day.
Hi,
That will be $20, please.
I forgot my Mobile Smiles driver's rewards card.
No worries. You can now use your registered mobile number to earn points.
Can I use my mobile number to redeem rewards?
Sure. Just show us your photo ID or driver's license.
That's easy.
And before we close out the news tonight, our latest round of birthday shout-outs from the Cold Stone Creamery Birthday Club.
On this January 28th, we say happy birthday and a very safe and happy and blessed birthday to Marissa Blambabauta, Your shoutouts coming from the MacShock clan, who wishes you many more blessed happy birthdays to come. Tori Lee Mayberry, happy birthday to you, Tori. We love you. Say Dad, Mom, Grandma Yoshiko, and the entire family. Each and every one of them is very, very proud of you. And belated birthday wishes going out tonight to Tassi Borja, who was born on the 27th. Tassi celebrates birthday number 6 in 2022. So Tassi, your family is sending you all of their love. So Mayor, Tori, and belated birthday wishes to Tassi. Happy birthday, each and every one of you. Have a great island weekend.
And it's that time of the week where we get to announce the winner of a delicious Cold Stone Creamery birthday cake.
Hey everybody, this week's winner of a delicious Cold Stone Creamery ice cream cake is Hadrian Ray Torres, whose birthday was yesterday. I remember doing this, and this is awesome. Hadrian, you have 24 extra hours to pate, because it is your extended birthday, so have a great one. Please be safe from all of us at KUAM and Cold Stone Creamery. And you know what? We're going to reach out to let you and your family know when you can safely and happily pick up your prize. Happy extended birthday once again to Hadrian Ray Torres.
All right, that's going to do it for us here on Primetime. Thanks for watching. Good night.
The One Micronesia podcast is brought to you by Docomo Pacific. Better together.